I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We welcome Red Toxon to the show. Hi.
Hello.
So, Red, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, I am Red Toxon. I am a cryptid Ohio VTuber. I mostly do cozy stuff, but I do like a lot of artwork and stuff as well.
Yeah. So are you one of those artists who's never satisfied?
Yeah, a little bit.
I've called you out 30 seconds into the interview.
Am I allowed to cuss during this?
You certainly can. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, because I actually do have like a little story that goes with like not being satisfied with my artwork.
Oh yes. Let us know, please.
Okay, so I used to be a crazy perfectionist to the point where I wouldn't even start a project if I didn't think it would come out the way I wanted it to. And a couple years back, I had a mental health situation which led to me actually getting treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time in like 32 years. And I was diagnosed with bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
And but due to the situation that led to that, they put me in a very intensive therapy session.
Oh, okay.
And I came out of that learning one of the most important aspects that is now a cornerstone of my life, which is it is okay to half-ass things. And I actually I want my first tattoo to be an open parentheses because it would be like half an ass. And it just it's just like it took me a while to like really incorporate that into my artwork. Like I used to do commissions all the time.
Yeah.
I was making like a decent amount of income doing artwork.
Right.
But then I couldn't anymore. There was just no joy in what I was doing, and I was unhappy with everything that I was making because nothing was just coming out right. And I started not doing projects because they were like, they're not going to turn out right.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I incorporated this half-ass mentality, and this very recently was I able to start drawing again.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think I make fun of the stuff with artists because first of all, I'm really jealous of the fact that you can draw things without getting hit by lightning, which is what happens with me when I try to draw things. Secondly is because you care about it so much. And
yes.
And that seems to be a rule for almost 99.9% of the artists is that I'm just not quite done with it yet. And, you've already painted the Mona Lisa. You don't have to go in and keep messing with it. It's done. But so you've been able to work through that for the most part?
Yeah, I am actually able to start a project and finish it, even if I'm not happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
I still finish it, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'll draw this again later. Because like you learn as you go, you learn from your mistakes. I'm also a bit of a writer. I've written poetry. And like I say, I'm not like somebody that writes like a bazillion poems and like I'm a poet. It's just I dabble in it.
Yeah.
And the main takeaway from that is I write poorly because one day if I keep at it, I'll be able to write good. Your first manuscript isn't going to be your bestseller.
Right.
It's not, your first manuscript isn't going to get published.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with art is you have to draw bad in order to draw good.
Well, in my case, I'd have to draw so bad that and I would get arrested in order to draw bad. That's how far beyond the game I am at this particular point. But that's okay. My wife does good stuff.
That's good.
We average it out. All the talent I don't have, she has. But I used to tell people in the young folks in radio who unfortunately went into it and learned that you can't earn any money at it. I told them to always give 50%. And they're like, "What?
Yes.
Like, what are you talking about?" I go, "Always 50%." I said, "Then, on occasionally, when you accidentally give 70%, they think you're giving 120% when actually you have 30% left over."
You need to apply that to every job.
That's
My
right.
goodness.
That's right. And they looked at me like, and then they usually quit. And that's a job done. Job
I
done.
like that.
But it really, it, it's not like you're not taking it seriously when you do that. You are, but it's tough to be realistic about what you're doing when it's something that you care about so much.
Yeah. Um, that was like whenever I first started VTubing. I started VTubing in February of
Hmm.
this year of 2024.
Yeah.
Um, and I was putting a lot into it,
Hmm.
like more than really probably should have.
Hmm.
And I wasn't getting any return. And I was like, if I keep this up, I'm gonna burn out and not have fun.
Right. Right.
So I took a step back and like one of the things I was religiously doing was religiously watching every single one of my recordings
Oh
for
yeah.
clips.
Yeah. Yeah. That can
And
drive you right crazy.
oh yeah, the moment I stopped doing that, I felt a lot better. I was able to put more energy into what I was doing for like I make my own overlays. I make my I'll commission other artists for stuff. But for the most part when it comes to my promotional material, I make all my own promotional material.
Hmm.
And I was able to put more energy into that kind of stuff. I have over 300 memes
Ooh.
that I have made with my various versions of my model.
Oh my gosh.
And I have such a backlog of posting them that I'm still using my old model for the memes before I can get to my current model.
You should, you've got so many memes in the can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell my friends about that. A lot of my friends are also streamers, and they're just like, "Damn, Red, how many memes you got in there?" And I select all the memes in my folder, and I send them the screenshot, and it'd be like, "Yeah, this is just half of them because I got the other half posted or something," and it still shows like 311 memes.
Well, I mean, at least if there's an emergency, you're stacked up. I mean, some
Yeah,
some people
if I can't stream for a little bit, at least I can post memes to stay relevant.
some people stack up, MREs, meals ready to eat. You've got memes ready to use, MRUs.
I like that. That's funny. Yeah.
You should like go on and do those commercials like those Survivor commercials. And are you out of
Hello, I
memes?
am Red Toxon, and you can fit so many memes in this baby.
This if the world all goes to hell, you can bring that. You can reintroduce memes through this.
It's just a T-shirt cannon, but I've printed out all my memes and shoved them in there, and you shoot them into people's living rooms.
Well, you can do it. You could put it on drones and have them flown out. That would be.
It's really me. I'm the person that's using the drones to suck the power out of the Illinois power grid. That was me the other night. I was using it to power my meme machine.
Hey, if you want to, if that's a great way to market too. I mean, if it's you, then people will be flooding to your streams no matter what. Try to figure out where next your drones are going to go.
Right?
So
And they're gonna try to find out if I'm like corrupt, a secret agent or something.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I won't devolve that word. I,
yeah.
I I have so much trouble with words. I will not share all my secrets.
we've come up with an entirely new marketing campaign for you. It didn't take that long at all.
No,
See, there's benefits for coming on the show.
I was gonna come on the show regardless of benefits because I like to have fun.
Yeah, well, I'm glad because that's what I'm having here. I'm having fun with folks, and it sounds like that's what you're having too with your streams and what you're doing. It was that the reason why you wanted to do it was to just get on and kind of have a place to let it hang out.
A mixture. I talked a little earlier about my mental health issue.
Right, right.
And because of that, like I am currently unemployed
Hmm.
and my family's really helping me out. So I live at home with my folks, which really works out very well. My mom is kind of like not in poor health, but she does need a lot of help right now.
Hmm.
And my dad's not really able to like take care of her all the time, and so like I help supplement.
Right.
And and in turn, they also keep an eye on me. And like, if I need to go back to the hospital or something, they're usually there to be like, "Hey, Red, are you doing all right?"
Hmm.
And so we're helping each other out. And whenever I used back like 7 years ago, I used to do a podcast called Six Sanctum. It was a
Hmm.
paranormal investigation podcast.
Ooh.
We would do we were doing actually a lot like what you do here, Eric.
Hmm.
We would bring in guests
Yeah.
and we would talk to everybody from all walks of the paranormal spectrum,
Cool.
from mediums to skeptics
Hmm.
to we had a David Oman on who was he lives in a house near the Sharon Tate house.
Ooh.
And he has a lot of stuff that happens in
Oh,
his home
I
that he
bet.
shared.
I
And
bet there's if there's going to be stuff flying around and that people don't know about, it's going to be that area,
yeah.
and that's even
And
that's even stuff that isn't even paranormal. It's going to be weird stuff flying around that area.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But where I was getting at with this is I had to stop the podcast and I kind of had to step away from the paranormal community because it was just kind of detrimental to my mental health.
Mm.
And but I did miss being behind the microphone. I
Yeah.
miss talking with people.
Yeah.
And Power World came out earlier this year. And I really love that game. That game is so much fun. I cannot wait for the new update that's coming out.
Yeah.
Um but what was happening was on Reddit, I saw a post where a guy completed a living lucky deck, which is like a shiny decks for Pokemon,
Hmm.
but it's the luckies, which are like they're the pals but larger. And he completed one of those, but like he kind of cheated to get it done. And I was like, I want to do that, but I want to do it legit and I want recording of it. So I started streaming. And my first couple of streams I didn't have a model, but I started watching other people and I saw the VTubing and how easy it was to actually get started. Especially with there's 2D models that you can use for free, and there's also Vroid Studio, which allows you to build your own 3D model.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I could do the 3D model. That seems like a lot of fun. And if I start making an income doing this, I can upgrade the model as I go along. And
Okay.
so I went with the 3D model route, and I really like dressing up my model. It's like playing with a Barbie doll, just changing the clothes, changing the hair. If I have a really bad day, I just put it into changing my model's hair color instead of dyeing my own hair in real life. It's a lot more simple.
Yep. 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 It is, and so it's given you a chance, and I've talked to other folks about why they've done it, and everybody's got different reasons, obviously. But it's kind of giving you a chance to express yourself and not put yourself out there at the same time.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and and it,
I
it's
can always step back.
yeah, it's I guess if you think about it, it's not really like a lesser risk or that type of thing. But there is the extra comfort level of doing it, that makes a big difference for people. And is that kind of what's happening with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have to I can be very relaxed doing this. If I had to turn on the webcam, I'd have to like make sure I have on makeup. I'd have
Mm,
to make sure the lighting is right.
yeah.
I'd have to make sure I've got on like nice clothes, that
Mm,
the area around me is like super tidy.
mm,
And I'm like, I have bipolar and inattentive ADHD.
mm.
So like it is really hard to keep everything up.
Right, right. And for folks who I mean, again, the diagnoses you're talking about affect people in different ways.
Yes.
But they're in what you'll talk about there. There might be people who when they decide to clean something, they really decide to clean something. You can't just you talk about the half-ass type thing. They don't half-ass it. it
No, and like
it must be
it
done.
also depends on like the medication.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
um, they're we're working on medication for me for that right now
Mhm,
because my bipolar medication has me incredibly stable,
mhm,
which is wonderful. And they almost like they don't want to slap the remission on it,
mhm.
but they're like, you're just very stable, and we're very happy for you, Red.
Right.
And and we're weary on putting any extra medication in for the ADHD because like the ADHD is like definitely setting me back,
Mhm.
but we don't want to mess with the bipolar.
Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunately with those types of things, it's interaction for one. And when you do any type of illness, they always have to deal with interaction if there's more than one thing involved. And two, you just never know what's gonna knock something off that balance, and
Yep.
it's a balancing act all the way around. And I'm glad for you that you've been able to at least get the balance as far as the bipolar goes, because um, that can be that can be a total nightmare if it's uncontrolled. And
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm not telling anybody who has gone through that anything that they don't know, or the loved ones of those people. They know too
Mhm.
how that works. So I'm glad for you for that, and I hope that eventually you can get something to balance the other part too, and
Yeah, and
at least have a peaceful existence with it, and go from there. And again, I'm for not for nothing, but what you're doing now is for what you've had to deal with, to be able to come on even and talking to me, and and going on the internet and talking to other people. That's a big step.
oh yeah. It actually the reason why I'm very vocal about it is I am a huge advocate for self-advocation.
Mm-hmm.
That because that was a problem growing up was I don't feel like I didn't know how to advocate for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I always knew something was wrong, something felt off,
Yeah.
and I just didn't know how to get help for that.
Mm,
And the times that I did see a therapist or something, it was like I used to get migraines chronically.
mm,
And so they were like, "Okay, go see the psychologist because we think you're making up the migraines."
mm.
And it turned out I had a bone abnormality in my nose that was causing me to have like sinus issues all the time,
Oh,
which was causing the migraines. But I digress.
yeah.
The therapist, I mean the psychiatrist, he was an actual psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "No, Red is just, Red is abnormally smart." Um
Mm-hmm.
and I was given the option to join Mensa, but I just like, I'm not into that, especially after reading the guy that wrote Dilbert. He wrote an autobiography.
Yeah.
And I read that and how he talked about people that were in Mensa, and I was just like, you know, I'm smart, but I'm not that kind of smart.
Yeah. 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 It that could be. that could be a
And
situation where you just kind of like, yeah, no.
yeah, no, it's like you go you join Mensa and you peak, and
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
It's like you don't really that's it.
yeah,
And I was like, I want to do more than that. I want to do more than that.
yeah.
And so like back to the advocation, it's now that I've learned, I've gone through therapy about it
Hmm.
to learn how to self-advocate. I feel like it's kind of like I need to share what I know so people that have not had the opportunities that I recently have had, younger people that are going through what I was going through, if I can teach them or show them the steps to self-advocate, maybe they won't end up suffering into their 30s
Hmm.
with an undiagnosed mental illness.
Oh yeah, and and not only that, but something I'm guessing here. So tell me when I'm wrong. I mean, my wife does it all the time. Why shouldn't you? Um, but the when you're doing that, you're also feeling like you're dragging other people with you, and that has got to be. I mean, I for a lot of things. I mean, I've not that long ago went in for some therapy myself, and I advocated for people who want to do that because get help when you can. I mean,
Yeah,
otherwise, why suffer when
yeah,
you can get some help? Um, but I always felt like if I brought my own things, it's up to in if I put myself first or even second or third, that I was neglecting taking care of other people, and or I was putting myself as a burden to other people, and that's a tough thing to live with every day if you're already not feeling particularly good about yourself.
gotta learn how to be selfish and have no regrets about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm getting old now, so there's a lot of things that I can get away with, um, a little easier than I could when I was in my 20s. But there's a lot of things I can't do now that I could do when I was in my 20s. So there you go. It's a trade-off. Um, the again, folks. As always, your mileage may vary with things like this, but as far as I'm concerned, if you can get in there and get some help, no matter what your problems, big or small, uh, get them before the. If it's small, get work on them before they become big. If they're big, get in there so they can become small.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
But like I get what you mean though, like about feeling bad. Like that was definitely a big hang up. I definitely was feeling bad about being weird.
mm,
Because I mean that was that's like the easiest way for me to explain it is I just felt weird all the time.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't feel that way anymore now. Like right now, I kind of do.
Well, you're talking to me.
I've
I would.
got some medical issues going on,
Yeah,
and I'm having to cut streams short.
yeah,
I'm not able to like help out around the house as much as I would like to.
yeah.
And I definitely feel like I'm dragging everyone down with me because I'm not able to like do stuff.
Hmm. Hmm. That
And
that.
it's really difficult. I'm self-advocating for myself. I've got all my doctor's appointments lined up,
Yeah.
but they're all next year.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, nothing's going to be happening between now and the end of the year if you're trying to get into a doctor.
Yep,
Uh,
absolutely.
and yeah, I've also got a situation where I just want to give you one line and fix the situation. The old Superman complex. I'll fix your situation, but the fact is that no one panacea is gonna do everything. Otherwise, everybody would have it. Um,
Yep, absolutely.
and it's uh, the one of the major great things that we have is that everybody is different.
Yes.
It can also be a pain in the rear, but but that also makes situations like mental health more difficult at times to take care of because there isn't a panacea. If you have
No.
if you have a certain type of flu, there's a way to treat it. Everybody usually has the same type of treatment for the flu or a cold
Mm.
or you twist an ankle. There's but mental health is it's
You
not one
can't
size
cookie
fits
cutter
all.
it.
Yeah, it's not. It's never going to be one size fits all. So and the fact that you're able to do this uh, shows a lot about your own character. By the way,
Thank you.
that you have been able to grab your bootstraps and go on from there and continue to fight forward, even though there might be something in there that says, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it's like I take a lot of steps to make sure that streaming is my happy place.
Yeah.
Um, it is like I feel really bad for the streamers that I see that I either I watch or I come across them on Blue Sky or Twitter where they burn out.
Hmm.
They get stressed out doing this.
Yeah.
And I really hate that for them because like for me this is an energizing experience.
Mm-hmm.
I when I sit down, whenever I is I have an external sound card, and whenever I turn that thing on, I feel electrified. I feel like I'm awake for the first time, even though for the day, even though it's 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm just like, ooh, it's awake time. I'm awake now.
It's just hello,
Um,
hello.
y- yes. And
Yeah.
I'm like this is what I live for. Um, but this is what I do. This is making as like my biggest thing is like a chill experience.
Mm.
I might have a little bit of chaos or a lot of chaos depending on what's going on with chat, but I want everybody to have a good time,
Mm. Yeah.
and I try to create a good environment for that,
Yeah. It's your
and
escape.
that is electrifying.
Yeah, it's your escape and it's their escape.
Yes.
Yes.
Like during the elections, I had big letters on the screen going, "There will be a no." I streamed election night, and I
Oh,
was like, I at first I didn't want to because I was like, "Ew, I'd be competing with the news."
yeah.
But then I thought about my followers and how I knew like a lot of them would probably want to break from
Mm.
that,
Yes.
and so I was like, "No election news during this stream."
Yes.
And I had several people come in and they were like, "Oh, thank God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you."
Yeah, some of us wanted to get as far away from politics, and still do at this point as much
Mhm.
as possible. That's a no-win situation for a lot of us as far as mental health is concerned. Uh,
Oh yeah,
mm,
absolutely.
yeah, and um, I'm absolutely amazed with what you're able to do here, and you've very specifically said some things that that I hope people take to heart, um, especially the part about doing something you like to the point where it becomes a chore. Um, with your art, uh, it becomes not just a chore but a job, and a job that you don't like because you start off doing something. You're making say you're making doilies for somebody for crying out loud, and you're just having fun with it. It's something that you're chill with, and then people start saying, "Could you do something for me?" Oh, sure, I can do something for you. I can. And he said, "Well, I'll give you $5 for that." Okay, I'll do some of those, and now it's become your job,
Mhm.
and you're like, I'm not being able to be chill with this anymore. I've got a deadline. I've got to do this in time. I've got a specific order I got to do. I'm not putting my creativity into it, and now it's something that I've got to schedule and clock in and clock out of. Um, that falls. Everybody falls for that trap eventually. I think. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to have talent to do it, and I don't do that, so I haven't fallen into that trap. But uh, people with actual talent end up falling into that trap. Um, and you started getting back into it here recently, and it took you a while. But when you first started, you know, putting pad to paper or stylus to screen, how did that feel?
At first, it was very as let me look at my art folder because I saved all my artwork that I started doing
Yeah.
again, and I say I have it. even though I just started in like the last like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I'm pulling up of one I did, the first one I did, and um, it felt really good. I used a model to help me. I'm gonna promote it. I love Clip Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Clip Studio is the best art program in my opinion. And they have models for you built into the program.
That's
And
good. I would need the
I
entire
used
artwork built in for me.
pardon?
I would need it to just go ahead and do it for me.
That's what Photoshop is for.
Yes, that's right.
Um But I used the model and it came out looking really good. And I shared it with a few of my friends, and everybody really liked like the expressions that I use. They're like the colors are really cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I used like a watercolor texture,
Mm-hmm.
and I rendered like really nice folds in the clothing and everything. And I was just relaxed while doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see like where I can do it better now, and I can like use different textures to make it look even better, to make it pop more.
Right, right,
But
right.
I'm really happy with it, and I'm happy that I pushed through with it even though I was frustrated with it.
Mm.
And I've continued to go on. Uh I've made 64 pieces of art
Mm.
since um what day did I do this on?
Yesterday.
Properties. November 4th.
Ooh,
I so since November 4th, I have finished like 60 something pieces of art.
whoa. That's a lot.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm happy with almost all of them.
yeah, yeah. And you've not obsessed to the point where you're going to go back and redo every single one of them.
N- no, it's just like I'm like, this is finished for now, and later on when I get a little better at my technique, I can come back to this.
Hmm. Good.
But like I'm like I'm happy with them.
And and with that, have you regained your love for it?
Oh, absolutely. Like I just did a commission for a friend of mine, May 420.
Hmm.
I think it's 420. She's a stoner cow VTuber. I just did a commission for her. Very excited. I can't share it,
Yeah.
but she's got something really special coming up in the new year. Um but I did a commission for her, and like I struggled with it.
Hmm.
Not because I didn't like it or anything. I struggled with it because I had other stuff happening.
Yeah.
And but like it was really still, even though it was a commission and it was for somebody else, I was still incredibly relaxed, and I enjoyed working on it a lot
Good.
because she knew what she was getting into with my art style.
Mm. Good.
And that's the important thing. I use VGen for my commissions
Right.
because you can set your terms of service. And I've also set it where I can reject people if they approach me wanting like I do a pseudo mixture of anime and westernized cartoons.
Okay.
And if somebody was to come at me with straight anime and they're like, I want this, this, I'm gonna be like, I don't do that. I don't
Yeah.
do cell shading.
Yeah.
I do realistic rendering.
Yeah. 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 It's 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 heartening to hear that something that you obviously enjoy so much, you're enjoying again. And
Yes.
and yeah, for lack of a better thing for me to say, you you have so far successfully fought yourself to do this. um, it's battling with your own self is so tough to do, and and if you need help doing it, get help if you can. Um, and um, I hope you're proud.
Oh, I am. That was the biggest hang up that I had was when I was doing my artwork beforehand,
Hmm.
before my mental health break.
Hmm.
Um, I really relied on the validation of my ex.
Hmm.
And a lot of stuff that I was drawing for him.
Hmm.
And so whenever he and I broke up, that was also a big problem with my artwork was I didn't have anybody else's validation. And whenever I started drawing again in early November, I don't know what clicked. I don't know how my brain rewired it, but I uh I was able to validate myself.
Yeah.
And that was like the biggest thing is self-validation is you really can't rely on other people to tell you that your art is good. You know, it's nice. It's very nice to be told that your art is good by other people.
Hmm.
Um instant gratification for doing artwork is very nice.
Yeah.
You know, making something and immediately posting it and being told, "Oh, that's amazing,"
Right.
is such a great feeling, and it's a high that you're gonna chase the rest of your life.
Exactly.
But you can't rely on that. You have to give it to yourself.
Yeah. 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 And and that's easy to say.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to say.
Yeah. The doing part is something different. But you have. Is it okay if I'm proud of you, even though I just barely met you?
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah. Because that's really something. That's a journey that a lot of people can certainly learn from, and hopefully take a journey themselves. Um, we've done this whole interview and have hardly talked about what you're doing on the channel. So
Yeah, that's fine. I like talking about myself.
that just means I'm going to have you back.
Oh, that's fine. I've had a great time.
Yeah, it's wonderful to talk with you. I'm glad to have met you. And again, what you've been able to do is great for you, but folks who are listening can take it to heart and apply it to what's happening to them too, because it can help. And
Yeah,
and
that's what I hope. I hope that I can help other people through my experience.
absolutely. And I wish you didn't have to go through that experience, but but here we are on the other side, and
Yes.
I am very glad to meet you, and we'll get you back ASAP. Okay.
All right, awesome. I look forward to it.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.